Hey everyone, it's Joanne and I am back with another card process video. I was asked to be a guest designer this month for little blue button stamps, and I'll leave the link down below. But I wanted to share the project that I made with you this week. So I am just cutting up a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I'm cutting it vertically because I've been liking the vertical cards. I'm using Nurse Sophie that's found at the Little Blue Button Stamp store, and she's a new release this month, and I thought she was so appropriate because you all know that I'm a nurse, and Nurse Week is coming up, so I thought I'd make this card for one of my friends. I'm using this old crate paper pad that I had. It's travel themed, but I liked the colors in it, so I decided to use it, and I'm just pulling some pieces that I thought I would use. I don't use all of them, but I just like to decide later once I lay down my idea. And usually I like to use like one more boldly patterned piece, and then I pair it with a couple of more muted ones. And I'm just trimming them down. I decided to use that more mustard color. Actually, it doesn't even look mustard. But I decided to use that as just to cover the whole card front. And then I trimmed down this ledger looking one because nurses chart, even though we chart on computers now, at least I do, and I charted that one down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I decided to use those floral pieces, and I was trying to think of how to incorporate them in my card. So first I wanted to trim down little Nurse Sophie, and I used my 3x4 stitch journaling die from My Creative Time, and I used a piece of washi to just place it down. And you kind of have to go in blind when you use that die because you can't see through it, obviously, so I just kind of guess where I want it to get cut, and it usually ends up working out pretty well. And then I just got this is how I get it off of the die. Sometimes if I have a hard time, I use a piece of washi and just kind of stick it to the back and then remove it that way. And I got some of my W3 and W1 markers and created like a little shadow for her to be standing in. Sometimes I don't like my images to be floating in the air, so I just create a little shadow to ground her a little bit. I didn't record the part where I colored with my Copics. That takes a long time for me, so I just trimmed that out. But if that's something you guys want to see, let me know down below. I just don't do it because it takes too long, and the video would end up being like 30 minutes in double time, so I trimmed that out. So I decided to use these large Spellbinder circles, and I always use the larger ones to use for my images, but I decided to use the smaller pieces and create like a little background with them with this floral piece of pattern paper. So I ran it through my Cuddle Book again, and you'll see how I just kind of arranged them down. I didn't really know what I was doing at this point, but I kind of had a vision in my head. So I wanted to arrange them in a little bubble pattern in the back of her. But then I remembered that I had a Happy Nurses Day sentiment in my stash, so I'm using this one from My Creative Time. I think it's called More Gift Card Sentiments. And I'm a sucker for a good sentiment stamp set, and I love sentiments. So you'll see me use sentiments a lot on my cards, and I still have to I think I've only touched maybe a third of the sentiments that I own. So I just stamped it down on that ledger piece. Or I'm going to stamp it down actually on the bottom. And then I decided to arrange the circles, but before I did that, I wanted to distress the edges of all the pieces. So I used Vintage Photo from Tim Holtz and my distress tool and just kind of went around all all the pieces, including the circles and the card bases. Everything except for what the little die cut that she's on. I think I said it before, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't like distressing just plain white. Sometimes it looks weird, at least for me, so it's just a preference thing, I guess. So I'm sticking down all the pieces, putting them down, and I really like the way this card turned out. Looks like I could just finish the card like that. Oh, I ended up putting adhesive, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to use some twine at the bottom. Oh, I didn't. Actually, I ended up putting her on fun foam, and then I decided to use some twine. So I cut off some fun foam to pop her up. She was super fun to color. I'm a sucker for nurse stamps. So before I put her down, I like psyched myself out, and I decided to go through my stash of twine. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I found some lawn fawn twine that was giving me a hard time getting off the roll at first, but finally got through it. And I like lawn fawn twine. It's like more waxy, it seems. It doesn't seem like the kind of baker's twine that you get from other companies, but this one seems more waxy, and it holds a shape better. So I just decided to just tie it around once and then tie a bow. And then I trimmed off the edges. And then I was going to put her down, so I used my ATG and put some adhesive on the back, and then before I did that, and then I adhered it to the card base. I actually flipped it because it was kind of crooked at the bottom. But I really, really love the way this card turned out, and it's perfect. This release is actually perfect for upcoming Nurse Week. That's usually the first or second week of, the week before Mother's Day week usually is Nurse Week. And my hospital does a lot of things for their nurses, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's my card for today. I hope you guys like it. Be sure to check out my blog for more information. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.